Let me just bring this up. All right. I would like to call to order the November 25th, 2024 Committee on Real Estate to order. Councilman Waring, could you please give us the invocation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Eternally Father, as we come before you today to do the people's business, let us use the best of our intellect, the best of our integrity as we go about doing on behalf of others. As we enter the holiday season, we ask to keep us in your embrace, keep us safe and healthy. We pray for those less fortunate and those who are unhealthy. Please bring your healing touch. We pray for those in the military and our first responders, in particular during holiday seasons when the rush is upon us. These prayers we ask for in your name. Let us all say, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman Waring. Um, so I understand that Councilman Waring, you're going to have to leave us a little early today. So I'd like to see if I can entertain a motion to take item D first.
Mr. Chairman, I would appreciate that privilege if we could do that because I think I may have to jump off at 3:30. Want
So
to discuss on that, find out the
second.
information. So move. I'll second that motion.
All right, we got a motion on the floor. All in favor of moving item D up to the top, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. So first item up is this is the 3 Lockwood Drive matter that's been before City Council a couple times already. Ms. Dinwiddie, would you please share the latest with us?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, committee members. So like you mentioned, this has been before the Real Estate Committee in the past. It was deferred at a prior meeting, so we are bringing it back before the committee for a vote. There have been no revisions to the proposed Fourth Amendment since the last committee meeting. So to go over those very briefly for you, just as a reminder, what this Fourth Amendment provide for a total of 20 years of extensions by adding 4 5-year optional extension periods to this lease agreement. If it was exercised during the first 5-year extension period, the rent would continue to escalate at the current rate of 3%, which is what it currently is, annual escalation of 3%.
Uh-oh.
Melina, you're breaking up.
Technology
lost
bug
you.
is contagious today.
I can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. While she's working on that, I'll just kind of, as she mentioned, she there? The idea that nothing's changed since the last meeting. Councilman Gregg had a good point. I think some of you others were in agreement that why not just move forward. The current lease expires, I think, in the 2 years, and we have the option to enter into a new lease agreement or whatever at that point at market rate versus entering into a 5-year term at the current rate, which is well below market. Which option would we like to go with? I do think having safe harbor in there as a long-term tenant, provided it's generally at market rate, makes a lot of sense, just given how much they're putting into that marina and how much self-interest that it would have for them to be part of that. But certainly want to make sure that the city is not losing out, if you will. That said, I originally came up with this initial plan, which was giving 3 additional years of below market rent to hedge, to do 2 things. One, to hedge against any uncertainty on who and where the market might be in 2 years, bird in hand, so to speak. And then, as a favor, if you will, or economic development opportunity with Safe Harbor, who I get is a well-funded company, but they are a good partner of ours. And then also out of respect for the folks, the current ownership who has owned that building, who built that building 30 years ago and has managed it through thick and thin. It's an exit strategy for them where they would get some consideration for a building that they constructed. I think there was understandable pushback on that. So we just decided to bring it back to this committee to have an open discussion on it. I think Safe Harbor just wants to know where we are. And I'm happy to, do the will of this committee at this point. I've kind of made the pitch, but certainly understand and respect the points that have been made by other council members regarding the economics. So that I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman. And Ms. Dinwiddie, if you have any other, and your technology's working, if you have any other commentary on that, by all means.
No, I appreciate you speaking for me, Mr. Mayor, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm sure that you covered it pretty well. The only thing that I wanted to mention is that this committee and council has previously approved the consent to assignment from from Charleston Marine Holdings to Safe Harbor for this lease. So we have consented to that assignment. It's just a matter of whether or not we want to approve this amendment.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Can I entertain a motion to go ahead and get this on the floor and we can enter into some discussion here?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Would anyone like to be recognized?
Kind of said my piece, so happy to, consider any other thoughts.
Councilman Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I mean, I think I've said what I had to say in previous committee meetings. The rental rates in the lease renewal in 2020, beginning in 2027, are $7.74 a square foot, and I can't support that. That's kind of where I stand on it. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Councilman Waring, did you want to be recognized on this one?
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, were there any discussions in between the last meeting and this one? I thought we were kind of moving in the right direction on it. Or we didn't have any discussions as far as increasing the square foot.
The complexity here is you have a couple of parties. You have Safe Harbor, who wants to take over, get the lease assigned, which we've given the ability to do that, but the lease only has 2 years left on it. So they're probably not going to assign it officially for only two years. You have Mr. Dobbs, who I see his hand is raised, and I think he represents the original ownership. I've met with him on a couple of occasions, tried to work through this agreement with him, and I think we should allow him to give his pitch to you all as a committee, because that's where I came up with the idea, the proposed initiative, which again, totally understand from where Mr. Gregg's position is, but I know there are extenuating factors that they've been a good tenant. Safe Harbor is a good partner. There's some certainty here. There's maintenance and unknowns. And we also, just for whatever it's worth, there's some precedent here where we entered into another 20-year lease with the variety store 2 years ago at the existing rate. So they got a really low rate for 20 more years. And so it's the same situation, but we're not willing to do it. So I thought this was kind of a reasonable compromise with all of those things in consideration. But I see Mr. Dobbs has his hand up, and we'll defer to the chair on when to allow him to speak.
Certainly, Mr. Dobbs, do you want to say a few words?
Dobbs, you're on mute. Peter? Well, he might. I see you still on mute.
Well,
I think the two options here, guys, are to do what is being proposed, maybe with some compromise on consideration for the certainty, but not perhaps 5 years, to Mr. Councilman Gregg's point. And I'm happy to try and work with them on what that might be. But I know this is something that we've talked enough about and need to kind of come up with a plan. But I'd hate to see it just kind of die right now, because I do think we're close. And to Mr. Councilman Waring's point, I'll take responsibility for not coming up with a specific potential compromise versus just an up or down vote on this one.
Councilman Waring?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we are moving in the right direction. I thought we would have another number to look at, Mr. Mayor, today, and I don't want to see it die either. So I just think it comes right back down to the numbers. Obviously you let the lease expire, and I guess at that time you can negotiate. But yeah, I'm willing to take a second swing at some numbers. Are you? Are they? I mean, where are we on this thing?
Perhaps, why don't we do this? And again, we could just talk in circles on this. I will take it upon myself to work with them and one more shot at it. And it's we're going to either let the lease expire, or we're going to vote on a proposed compromise that we'll present at the next real estate meeting. And so, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your patience, and I would move to defer this, and with the understanding that we will come back with one of two options to vote up or down.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion to defer, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to defer, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it.
And Mr.
All
Chairman,
right.
before we move on, I will just say that I will make sure that we can figure out how to allow Mr. Dobbs to be able to speak at the next meeting, just because I think we're having either he or us are having some technical difficulties, and just want to make sure, just given that he's been in that building for 30 years and a good tenant, or 40 years, that he has an opportunity to address this body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I echo Councilmember Waring's thoughts. I mean, I think there's broad consensus for moving forward with this. I think it's just about making another run at some of the details and bringing back something a little bit different. But I'd like to see this get approved, or at least we have a final up and down vote on it next committee meeting. So look forward to seeing that happen, and appreciate both Safe Harbor and Mr. Dobbs, you and your crews continued engagement on this. Next item up is the original item A. This is an authorization for the mayor to execute a PSA between the city of Charleston and some folks over in connection with the Church Creek Flood Resilience Project over on Wolf's Lair Road.
I'm gonna move for
Second.
approval.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Ms. Dinwiddie, do you want to have a few remarks on this one?
Sure. So this is involving the Church Creek Flood and Resiliency Project over there by on Bees Ferry by the West Ashley Circle. This committee may recall that we had previously approved an acquisition of an easement from Abundant Life Church. So this is in relation to that same project. This is on private property owned by Mr. Wolf and Miss Wow. They have agreed to sell to the city 5.6 acres of easement area on their land for $63,000 is the acquisition price. This property would be used for stormwater and conservation easement to be granted to the city. The stormwater improvements would be made, including drainage pipes and improvements to the ditches and swales. The city also has the right under this easement agreement, but not the obligation to make wetland improvements for the purpose of protecting and preserving the wetlands. So one thing that we like about this is that it will be conserved land in perpetuity. So we are excited about moving this project forward. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Great, great. Anything we can do to help with the flooding in Church Creek, I think is a good idea. Any comments or questions from the committee? All right, Stephen, this is in your back neck of the woods. You good with this?
Oh yeah, no, this is great. I mean, right along the lines of really millions and other spending that we've undertaken over at least the 3 or so years that I've been here and before me as well. So I appreciate everyone's commitment to helping my constituents and the stormwater department's hard work on this.
All right, let's vote on it. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Next item up is a matter involving Sumar Street. This is an authorization for the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed for a portion of the Sumar Street itself. I guess this is well, I'm not sure quite what this is. Melina, can you shed some light on it?
Let me move approval, get it on the floor. Okay.
Oh yeah. Moved and properly seconded. Ms. Dinwiddie?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So this is involving the Sumar Street redevelopment project that is going to be done by Edens. The committee had previously approved a PI agreement and as well as a development agreement for this area. As part of that PI and development agreement, the city is going to be abandoning a portion of Sumar Street. I believe that we've already had that go through traffic and transportation for this abandonment. What it will be is a partial abandonment, where the part that is being abandoned is about half an acre of land, and the portion that is being abandoned will be divvied up between the property owners that's adjacent to those portions, which after we close on the Sumar Street parcel currently owned by the city, that will be granted to Edens Development. They will be the owner touching on all of the portions. So they will be acquiring through their deal with Faison all of the adjacent parcels. So Sumar Street, the portion that is being abandoned, is going to be divvied up between those various parcels adjacent to it. The best reference is the survey that was attached to this quitclaim deed that is in your packets.
Got it.
I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this.
Got
The
it.
quitclaim that is in your packet, sorry, one last thing, is subject to final council approval.
Thank you, Ms. Dinwiddie. So long story short, what was formerly a portion of Sumar Street will now be part of the development.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You summarized that much more succinctly than I can, so thank you.
Well, sounds good. There might be some people watching. All right. Any comments or questions from the committee?
I think, Mr. Chair, just
Sure.
one point to make. I think, well, my understanding is Eden's has closed on the property a couple weeks ago, so I believe we are obligated to do this under the Public Infrastructure Improvements Agreement.
Got
Under
it.
the agreement, yes, this is a requirement on the part of the city.
Yeah. There's no backing out now. Time to do it. Let's move this project forward. So without any further comment, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Next item up is an authorization for the mayor to execute a PSA between 141 Community Park LLC, Carolina Art Association of Charleston, and the City of Charleston involving the E.B. White building. We are very fortunate to have a special guest on the line here today, Councilman Seekings. But before we let him give a few remarks on this, can I entertain a motion to get this on the floor?
Move for
So
approval.
move, Mr.
Second.
All right,
Second.
moved and properly seconded. And Councilman Seekings, happy to have you here today, and please take it away.
I'll be brief. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and fellow members of the Real Estate Committee. This is the much anticipated purchase and sales agreement to purchase what we call 141 Meeting Street, otherwise known as the E.B. White building, the building where formerly, if you were paying your electric bill in person, you would walk in and do that. The purchase is for a total of $3 million. You will recall that we as a council through Ways and Means approved to pay half of the purchase price of $1.5 million. The other $1.5 million will be paid by the Gibbs. The building, once it changes hands, will be titled in the name of the Carolina Art Association and the City of Charleston. Why, you might ask, has it taken so long to get here? It's been an enormously complicated process, and a process that has actually ended up producing a much better deal for the city and the Gibbs than was originally bargained for. And that is, the original deal was to sell the building and the building itself. You might recall, if you walk back there, there was a couple of other buildings behind it that were not historic, that, by the way, if you walk through that parking lot, have now been knocked down. In order to make the E.B. White functional, in order to actually make it a space that's habitable, it's necessary to build an addition off the back of it to provide modern amenities such as restrooms and the like. So through the course of negotiations, BMOC and their team has agreed to not only sell the building, but also include another 22.5 feet off the back at no extra cost to us that will be included in the TMS number, so that addition can be built. The other thing that was realized pretty early on is the building really couldn't exist on its own. And when I say it couldn't exist on its own, it needed things that couldn't be really provided in the footprint of the building itself, which is old, or that 22 extra feet. So the proposal was to build a connection between the existing Gibbs building at 135 Meeting and the E.B. White building at 141, connecting to the addition. That process of negotiating that took a long time, almost a year. BMOC ultimately agreed to it. The process, the connection has been designed, and it's actually been through the BAR process. And as part and parcel of this purchase and sale agreement, there is Exhibit 1, which is an MOU. That MOU will be executed at the time of closing, not if we give the mayor today the authorization to sign the PSA. And that MOU allows the Gibbs to build that connection under one of two circumstances. One, if and when the park that's being built by BMOC is completed and 4 years forward, or if the Gibbs hires Choate Construction, who's doing the work for BMOC, to do that addition, it can be built concurrently and simultaneously with the park, and which is about to begin. So the Gibbs has agreed under separate agreement to hire Choate Construction to do that work. So what the MOU reflects is that agreement that once that contract is signed, that the Gibbs will begin the process of building the addition and connection between the two buildings immediately. So what I'm asking for today, and by the way, the reason you're hearing from me and not somebody else is that Julia, who's done the heavy lifting on the part of the city and the legal team, is out of the country. So along with Councilmember Brady, I sit on the Gibbs board and I've been on it now for 14 years. So I think he handed this to me. It's been an incredible negotiation. It's going to be a great project. So I'd ask that you give the mayor the authority to sign this sale and purchase agreement. There will be some very minor changes to it that are simply Scrivener changes. There will be nothing of substance. Those should be in the mayor's hands in the next couple of days. But with this authority, then we can move this towards council. And I will just say that there is a real, not urgency, but time is of the essence here in getting this signed, because that kicks into place that gives us ability to go get out a bank loan to build the addition and the connection, to apply for historic tax credits, to sign a contract which is a prerequisite to them being able to go forward and do this addition. So, and Councilmember Gregg, I'm glad you're on this call. If this committee sees fit to push this through and give the mayor the authority, I'm going to ask at Ways and Means tomorrow to add this on under exigent circumstances to get a vote of Ways and Means and then council, so all of those things can come in behind the mayor's signature and the process can get going. So I probably said more than I need to, but I will just close by saying this is going to be an incredible amenity for the city, for the people who live here, and for the Gibbs. No one, I think, believed about 2 years ago when we started that this would become a reality, particularly in the form that it is now taking, which is an expanded deal with BMOC for the same purchase price and an opportunity of a lifetime for the Gibbs, the city, and the people who live here. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm certainly happy to answer any questions. It's certainly been very entertaining and interesting to be a part of these negotiations, and I think they've landed in the right place. They went on as late as about an hour ago. So we're literally just in the wake of it all. This is the first authorization, will be the mayor's authorization. The Gibbs Executive Committee did give the chair the authorization to sign as well, pending the mayor's signature.
With that, Mr. Chairman, can I call for the question?
Sorry about that.
I'll tell you what, Mike, if you ever decide to get out of private practice and you've got a future as part of the legal team here, that was quite a nice report here. But in any event, thank you for that. Thank you for all the hard work. Transactional real estate negotiations are not for the faint of heart, but good to see that we got a good outcome here. All in
just
favor?
one last thing, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
just before we say, is closing will be in January. And that's another reason why I'd like to get this in front of the mayor really quickly. So thank you.
Outstanding. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to jump off, so thank you for your courtesies. Thank you.
Good deal. No problem.
And I as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you all very much. Item E. This is over at Wharfside. This is an authorization for the mayor to execute a right-of-way and utility easement and a partial abandonment of existing CWS water easement and CWS sewer easement for the aquariums upfit project over at the Maritime Center. Ms. Dinwiddie, let's get a motion, the motion on the floor first, and
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Ms. Dinwiddie?
Thank you very much. The CPW has requested this partial abandonment and new utility and right-of-way easement, basically to reroute some water line and a sewer line that is on the property owned by the city. That's the Maritime Center property, also crossing over to the museum property slightly. This is to accommodate the upfit project being done by the aquarium. If you were to look in your packets, and if it's okay, I would like to just go ahead and share my screen. I think that's the easiest way to do it, if it would let me. Well, I appear to continue to have technical difficulties. I'm sorry about that. But in your packet as the exhibit, what you'll see is the easement plat that's been prepared by CPW. Essentially, part of the water easement is being abandoned because they have a new connection right there by the staircase at the Maritime Center stairs. And they are abandoning a portion of the sewer easement. The city would be responsible for maintaining the remaining portion of the sewer easement that they're abandoning. It's just like any other private property where you maintain your own utility line that's on your property up to the street. So it's just a regular PVC pipe for the sewer line there. But this, I understand, is one of their last items to close out that project. So we're excited to see that come to a conclusion.
Absolutely. It's definitely one of the more exciting projects we got going on over on the waterfront over there. Any comments or questions from the committee? This one seems pretty straightforward. All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the easement item, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. We are now on to our annexations. Like we've got 2, 4, 6 annexations. I think 5 of these are standard residential annexations, and then we have 0 Folly Road, which is part of a litigation resolution, which is a little bit different. Can I maybe entertain a motion to take Councilman Tinkler? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to move to take F1 through F5 together.
You read my mind.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Now for the vote on the annexations themselves. Can I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of 1 through 5, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Can I now entertain a motion for item 6?
Move to approve.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Does staff have anything they want to mention on this one? I see Councilmember Parker is on the line. If she wants to say anything, I'd certainly be glad to recognize her if she'd like.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not on the committee, so I can't make a motion, but I think I asked previously. I mean, it might, be responsible for this committee to move to an executive session just to get some legal advice.
Councilman Tinkler, would you like to tee that up? Mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry, I'm going to have to recuse myself from this vote pursuant to a conflict of interest form I've already submitted. So
I'll move that we go into
I'll second it.
All right. Motion on the floor to go into executive session to receive legal advice. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. So,
All right, who all needs to be in the room, Mr. Chairman?
so let's do all the committee members. Let's add Councilmember Parker and our legal team and anyone from staff that is so inclined. I'm just trying to think here.
Chairman Appel, if we could get Molly and Matt Fountain to join us, that'd be great.
Great. That sounds awesome.
Mr. Chairman, can we also pull the agenda item up on the screen, or whoever can share their screen with it?
Absolutely. That is way outside of my technical know-how, but I'm certainly think that'd be a great idea to have that up when we go into executive. Guess we're waiting for the little prompt here
Does Christopher Morgan need to be in there?
Sure.
Great. Then I'll send you all along. Let me know if anyone else needs to be in.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Councilmember Tinkler, I did assign you to the room. I don't know if you got a pop-up. You're on mute.
I think I'm gonna, because I'm recusing myself
Oh,
from
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
Of
sit out.
course. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, should I go ahead and close the room so everybody would come back?
That'd be a great idea. Anything we can do to help our colleagues make it on back.
It says there'll be a 45-second countdown and then it will close. But it looks like all the committee members are back right now. If you want a motion to come out and all that.
All right, can I entertain a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
All
Second.
right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of coming out of executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have received legal advice on this matter. We're now out of executive session. No action was taken in executive session. Can I entertain a motion from the committee?
Move for approval for all annexations with the exception of the last one, which I believe is, I'm not sure what the letter is. I don't have it up on the screen, but and move for approval of whatever what are the
I think we already approved the first 5.
oh, then
We're
I moved
just
to
on-
defer. I moved to defer.
Okay, so the mayor's motion is to defer item F, Roman numeral 6.
Second.
And it's seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And of course, let the record reflect Councilman Tinkler recused himself from voting and from going into executive session on this one. Thank you very much. That brings us to the close of our agenda. Appreciate everybody's hard work today, including our staff and several guest appearances by council members, not on the real estate committee. Everyone's always, of course, welcome. And see everybody tomorrow night.